You have just now tuned into the Organic Vision Podcast, where we are here to keep you motivated to bring your visions to reality, encouraging you to never give up on yourself no matter what. Want to ensure you don't miss an episode or any of our content? Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at ORGVSNPOD and Instagram at ORGVSN_POD. Keep chasing those visions, y'all.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Welcome back, man. Welcome back to the Organic Vision Podcast. This is a bonus episode, man. I know I ended season 1, but this is a bonus episode. I wanted to come back with you guys and share what I titled The Takeover. The Takeover, man. But before we jump into all of that, it's been a minute. It's been a while. Some time has passed, man. I hope y'all guys are having a blessed day out there. I hope you've had many blessed days. I hope you guys are continuously chasing after your visions, letting no man stop you or situation, obstacle, what have you. Excited to be back to share some time with you, man. Again, like I said, we're going to talk about the takeover, but thank you, man. Thank you for my subscribers, man. We got more subscribers. I appreciate y'all for hitting that button. I appreciate y'all for hitting that like button. The comments been jumping. Thank you for all the love and support, man. For all of my newcomers, I appreciate you for stopping by. First time and last time, thank you, man. I appreciate all the love, all of the time that is shared with the Organic Vision Podcast. I go by the name of Ty. If you're new, and those returning, man, thank you for coming back. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for tapping in for this episode, man. It's gonna be a good one. Kind of left off with Finding Peace, leading up with the episodes and how it all led up to Finding Peace, which was a very good episode. I think it was one of the best episodes that I have recorded since doing this. So if you haven't, Finding Peace, episode 10. Do yourself a favor, go check it out. Got the video up on YouTube if you want to see this face along with hearing the voice, and got the audio on Spotify and iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. So you can go check that out. Very good, very good, very good, very good episode, man. I don't want to put out there what the season is and all that. Obviously, we concluded season 1, which is pretty much me coming, having a vision for something, carrying out that vision, seeing it all the way through, and actually loving it, man. We're gonna talk about the little pause and the break and where I've been and all that good stuff that comes along with the title to take over. You'll understand later if you hang around long enough. But I'm just glad to be back, man. It's refreshing to get back to something that you care about, something that you're passionate about. It's a breath of fresh air to be able to carry out that task, that hobby, whatever you have for yourself, man. And that's how I feel today, coming back with y'all and sharing a few minutes of your time to connect, man. Hopefully you get something from this podcast that you can take and integrate in your life. And hopefully it's something that you feel strongly enough to pass on to someone else, man. The whole purpose of Organic Vision, or piece of it, is to not only be relatable and share my experiences with you guys to maybe help you over a hurdle or obstacle or whatever you may be facing in your life, but it is to also expand beyond that. So if it's something you hear, if it's something that is relatable to you, that you was like, man, that was a good point, this can help out my bro, or that was a good point, this can help out my sis, or that was a good point, this can help out somebody, let me post it, let me reshare, let me do whatever I can just to further the message along. And that's what it's really all about, helping people with whatever I have. And I've said this before, I'm no expert. I just solely use my experiences that I've gone through in life, and I just share them. That's it, man. And I'm just here trying to share some experiences to be able to help somebody get over something or get through something, but to continue to push, to continue to chase that vision, to continue to go after it, man. And just not letting anything stop you. And I'm going to pause there because I'm going to get into the episode a little too early, but thank you, man, for coming back. Thank you for tuning in. If you don't know how to follow us before you go, if you got to head out, remember, we do have a YouTube channel. You can follow us, Organic Vision Podcast. We are on Instagram, which is Organic Vision Podcast, or orgvsn.pod. We also have a website, not solely based around the pod. The pod is a piece of the website. We also sell apparel, www.orgvsn.com. So there's a couple of ways to get with us, a couple of ways to stay connected with us. Turn those notification bells, hit them, turn them on, so you know when you know something is new, some content is there for you to digest and hopefully input into your life. The takeover means for me the dream, the vision, the passion. At a certain point in my life, I was, and I you can see this through the videos, right? Like I was all in, and I still am all in. Don't get me confused, but The takeover meaning I put that vision and that passion like up here over everything I had going on in life. Like it's up here. And I was protecting it and keeping it up there. I have a family, I have a wife, I have a kid. Doesn't have 2 legs, he has 4. But I have other things. I have household responsibilities, personal responsibilities, finances, not to mention a spiritual relationship and a journey that I'm on that I'm trying to continue to grow at, to continue to spend time in that area of my life, to continue to ground myself in that, have that as a priority, family, work, and all that good stuff. But I was so determined, man. I was so determined to get this thing off the ground, to be able to do these things. It overrid everything in my life. That was the start of somewhat of a decline. I realized, man, having a list of priorities or being in line with what you want doesn't always mean go head first and forget everything else. This got to go, that got to go. My vision, my passion is first, right? There could be times where your passion or your vision, whatever the thing is that you are carrying out, whatever you're into, mine's happen to be apparel and this podcast. And I was putting that over all else. Like I was so consistent with this thing that, I was experiencing burnout and I was subtracting family time. I was subtracting spending time with God. I was subtracting spending time with my finances and being organized in other areas because I was like, nah, forget all that. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to make sure I'm selling clothes. I'm going to make sure I'm recording podcasts. I'm going to make sure I'm in front of everybody every single day with a piece of content. I'm gonna make sure that these things come first. I got to do this stuff first because this is going to get me there. But on the flip side of that, it helped me grow an audience. But at the same time, I was losing all of the other dynamics in life that gives us balance. And I know balance can be used loosely. I don't think you can ever have a true equal balance of one thing. Like you go up and you go down, right? I mean, you spend time at work, you try to, separate that time to go home and spend time with your family. You try to take some time away from that to make sure your finances are in order, to make sure anything you have planned, trips, vacations, meetings, spending time with your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, your siblings, whatever, right? But for me, I was like, nah, I did all that, man. I'm trying to do this. This is what I'm finding joy with. This is what I'm finding peace with. I'm gonna stick with this and I'm gonna keep pushing this 100 times forward, no matter what else. But what happens is when you put that much weight on one side of the balance scale, all this other stuff flies up and it goes haywire, right? So you start to experience some difficulties or some challenges when you don't spend enough time in these other buckets. And so I was very simply put mismanaging the vision that I have for myself, not being realistic, not having more precise goals. Instead of having this big goal of I'm gonna make it a success, like how are you gonna make it a success and make it a success in very digestible pieces, right? Let's focus on maybe getting to 10 subscribers for my podcast. Let's focus there first. All right, once I get to 10, what is my next milestone? And how am I going to get there? Am I going to post trailers? Am I going to try to just communicate with people that I feel like are in line with what my message and my mission is? Or, how is that going to work? I feel like a lot of times myself, when I have an idea, I'm gone. Like I don't always think everything out. I don't always write everything down. However, through this stage in life, it makes it even more important on why things need to be written down and why you need to plan. I like to compare, businesses and how they operate along with some pieces of my life, right? I used to be a sales rep and a store manager. And every year we would have to create a plan on how we were going to exceed a sales budget and a profit and all this good stuff, right? I hated that time of the year. You have to pretty much, it's an in-depth plan. It's like multiple sections of this plan. It's tedious, it's long, and it's just not my cup of tea, right? But on the flip side, I now understand exactly why it's so important to go through those things so that you have a guide, right? You never can really predict what's going to happen by just taking some numbers and jotting them down and say, I want to get here and these are the ways I'm going to get there. That's great. It's a good tool to use. However, If you go on the year and you don't know where the heck you're going, you don't even know what you need to get to the next level, or you don't know what you need to be successful, or you don't know what you need to beat out the competition, then you just flying by the seat of your pants. Like you're gonna be, I'm talking about myself because I did this. I'm gonna be so all over the place with how I carry out my goals or how I carry out my tasks to achieve my goals. One day I can be like, man, I'm gonna do some content today. But if something hit me, if I had a message hit me, I wanted to talk about that message. But when you introduce finances and money that you're pulling from your own personal income and you don't have a plan on how you're going to grow it, at that point, you're just throwing money out the window, right? Because you don't have a plan. You have a plan on how to sell items. You have a plan on what to sell them for to get your money back and to be able to reinvest. And I don't want to lose anybody, but the two visions I have for myself, if you just jumping onto this podcast, you're just jumping into my world a little bit. One is an apparel brand, a clothing company that I started via e-commerce. And then the second is this podcast to keep you on page with me. These are the two things that I'm talking about when I'm speaking about the takeover and the things that I put above my family, finances, God, and all that great stuff. That's what we're talking about. Being able to know price points, how I'm gonna get it, incorporating shipping, incorporating materials and all that cost into the number. That's great. But what if something happens? Like, how am I going to bounce back? Like, how am I going to get the money back? How am I going to be able to keep it afloat? And that stuff comes in when you plan. That stuff comes in when you pre-plan. That stuff comes in when you are really looking ahead before you act instead of acting when you think about it. When I think about something, I take the action. When I think about this, I want to run and do it. Instead of thinking about it, jotting it down, reading it to yourself, like actually going through it like, okay, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna buy this. This is the cost. It's gonna cost me this much. I got to get it loaded on the site. I got to get the shipping loaded in. How many people do I have that's really gonna buy this? How much marketing is it gonna take? Is marketing important? Do I need photos? With the podcast, how many subscribers do I need? How am I going to get this in front of the subscribers? Really taking an inventory and really digging deep if you want it to be a business is everything doesn't have to be a business, but something that you're investing money, I feel like you need to take these steps with. And I didn't. I did to an extent, but not fully all the way through. And so that what you have there is a crash and burn scenario where you're having to pick up the pieces, figure out what went wrong, put it all back together. So that's where I'm at right now with the apparel brand and podcast, just trying to figure out like how do I do it so that we don't get here again because it's still a strong passion of mine. And then there are some other external factors that played a role in here on this path, right? So I had a career change and things of that nature where I didn't have as much time that I once had with my previous job. So that threw a wrench in the plan. But there's no excuses here, right? If you want something, you got to figure it out. If you want something, you got to go get it. If you want something, you got to plan for it. If you want something, you need to write it down, understand the risk, and be able to consume those risks and be able to know what's going to happen on the front or the backside. If it goes well or if it doesn't go so well, what is my exit strategy? Or what is my plan I'm gonna pull out my pocket when this first plan isn't going so right or so straight to plan. Have a guide is essentially what I'm saying should be important. It's, instead of like jumping out the window and just putting everything like, eh, X, this is what I'm gonna do. None of this other stuff matters that I have going on right now. None of these other obligations are important. We're gonna kick all that out the window and we're gonna run this way. It's cool if you want to do that, but if you have it all together, if you have the resources you need, do you. But speaking from experience, I would suggest writing it down, really making a plan, really thinking ahead as much as you can. Think ahead, think of scenarios, use your experience that you've gone through. If it's something that you're getting into, I'm pretty sure you're not the first person in the world that's going to embark on this journey, but you don't also have to do it exactly like someone else. You could just use a resource of someone doing whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do, podcast, selling clothes, doing hair, washing cars, mobile detail, whatever the case may be. There's someone out there that's doing it or has done it before. Learn from them. Go and figure out what strategy they took, what went well, and what didn't go so well. Save yourself some time. Don't be like me. And I knew better, and I still did it this way. But I feel like for me, I learned off of experience. Being able to kind of get my hands dirty is how I learn. I'm not a visual learner. I can learn that way, but it really sinks in and I really get it when I actually get my hands dirty. When I'm actually touching things and doing the work is what helps me. So if you are like that, again, plan, write it down, make some goals, realistic goals, things that you can really do, and as you do them, you add on more goals and then you can continue to level up. Don't want it so bad that you Xing everything out of your life. You're putting this number one. You're kind of forgetting about some things that you have going on. Don't repeat the strategy of Ty. Let's move with a little bit more patience. Let's move with some wisdom, with some experiences, because there's a lot of wisdom out there. There's a lot of lessons to be learned out there from someone else. I mean, you don't need to go out there and make the same mistakes that someone else did to get to where you're trying to go. All right. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today, man. The takeover, which is what I do not suggest. Do not allow your vision to take over and lead your life down an unplanned path. If you plan for it, go for it. But if you didn't plan it, if you didn't think about it all the way through, hit the brakes. All right. I'm not saying we got all these many years to live, but at the same time, hit the brakes, man. Take your time, move with some patience, because what's going to happen is I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to run yourself in the ground. Some of this stuff can make you not want to enter it ever again. Like some of your experiences, depending on what happens, you may be like, nah, I'm good on that, man. I tried that. It didn't work. But how did you try it? Did you give it your all? Did you really understand what you was getting into, understand what it really takes? Because it can be done. Your vision can come to reality. You can bring it to your right here, right in front of your face. You could do that. But you just need to understand the risk. You just need to understand how you're going to do it. How are things going to unfold for you? And do it, man. Go for it. I'm not talking nobody out of what they should and shouldn't do. I'm just here to share my experience with you, tell you how I fell flat on my face, and hopefully you could take that and proceed, man. Hopefully you can take that information and look at what you got going on. Maybe you need to tweak a few things. Maybe you already went through this process. Maybe you light years ahead of me, and that's great. That's great, man. I never mind acknowledging when I made a mistake. I never mind acknowledging when I didn't do something fully, because that's how I learn. We don't have a certain number of years that we're on this earth, right? So don't waste no time that you don't have to waste, right? Don't waste time, man. Plan it out, write it down, take a picture, whatever you need to do. Remember what you need to do. Get somebody to help you if you need somebody to help you. At the end of the day, don't let your vision take over your life. You want it to be a part of your life. You don't want it to be your life. Like, you got other things you need to do. You need to have a balance. Don't overwork yourself in one area where you can have a little fun, and let your head down in another area. Go up and down, just try to stay here as much as possible, not here, not there. Like, sorry, you can't see it. Anyways, you know what I'm saying, man. Don't get so heavy weighted on one side of the scale. That's what I'm trying to get out, man. It wasn't a great illustration, but I'm pretty sure you get it. And that's what I got for you today, man. Leave me some comments, man. Let me know what y'all thinking about the pod. Shoot some shares out there for me, man, as y'all always do. I greatly appreciate it, man. Y'all are some great supporters. I love y'all. Love my audience, my little community out there, the Organic Vision community, man. We're growing each and every day. I promise I'm going to give it my all. I'm gonna put it in my balance sheet on how much time to spend in what bucket that I'm dealing with, man. But thank you again for coming back and checking out this podcast, man. I love delivering it to you. Hope you enjoy, or you get something out of it that you can take back to your vision, back to your whiteboard, or wherever you jot your notes down in notebook, journal. I hope it does you some good, man. Until next time, thank you for stopping by. This is the Organic Vision Podcast. Much, much more in store to come. I don't just say that just to say it. I really do think about my vision every day and how I can get it in front of some people, how I can help somebody in some way with what I've been through, so that I can articulately speak it to you, or how I can be articulate, when I'm speaking to you about my experiences, man. Anyways, I'm gonna jump out of here, man. Thanks so much for checking out the Organic Vision Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at orgvsn.pod. You can also check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, man. Like us, share us, whatever you feel that you need to do. Thank you. Let me know what you think about the pod. Don't forget, you can write me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever you choose, man. I'm trying to be everywhere you are. Until next time, man, keep chasing that vision out there, y'all. Peace.